So I'm going to take a question from Mr. Whittington here in a minute. Before I do start taking questions, I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your involvement yesterday at the beginning of class. It's always great, and at the end of the class. This seems to be a really good class when it comes to involvement. Sometimes I do these classes and I don't get much involvement, but this has been a real good class so far, so I appreciate it, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about a piece of marketing that I've used since the 80s, and it's a piece of marketing that is proprietary. I invented it, much like Craigslist, and it will be life-changing for you beyond words. It doesn't matter whether you continue to be a realtor or a mortgage broker, or maybe you're an insurance agent. You know, anything that you've ever done with data, those of you that have ever needed data, I'm going to introduce you to a free data source. And naturally, when you hear the word free, oftentimes we roll our eyes. But this is a data source that is all of the data sources rolled into one. It's a government and municipality data source that is available only through your government or through your municipality sites. And so it's not an annual subscription environment or a monthly subscription environment that you can be part of, or I can be part of, just due to the sheer cost of it. So I'm going to introduce you to this database today. And then I'm going to take you through and show you a piece of marketing for the second piece of the class. Kind of want to start off the class with the theme of something I saw here this morning. I'm going to read this to you. Thought it was pretty important. Well, naturally, it's disappeared on me, so I'm not able to read it. I apologize. It's one thing I can't stand about Instagram. I get it teed up and then it disappears. But anyway, that being said, Mr. Whittington, hit us with your best shot. Brother, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, my question's pretty straightforward and simple. We're taking in a lot of the stuff you're saying. How quickly can I implement? I have an application from you guys to be able to get a business owner, give a business owner, gather that information, grab those bank docs and submit it to Bret. How quick, is that something I can start doing yesterday, or is that something I can do tomorrow, or do I have to wait to go through the whole 4 days of training before you guys will start accepting those?
We have a person who's already funded a loan in this group. It funded yesterday. We have 5 other files in from this group, and we have 2 that will fund today from this group. So we have people that are funding loans and handing in loans already from this group. Just make sure whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear that you don't get panicky and say, hey, I better step up my game. Just go at your own pace and understand that the average person makes $300,000 their first year. Starting about a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, you start to really get involved in it, financially speaking. But that's from today, or from Monday, and the above average person makes a little over $750,000. So that's factoring in a week and a half, 2 weeks learning curve. So, yeah, if you want to hand something in, send it to management@mpbfunding.com. Again, the word management spelled out at mpbfunding.com. And you don't have to say, hey, this is from, Mr. Whittington, Chris Whittington, or, Vadim or Sylvester or Thea. It doesn't matter at all. We've got your email address, so we're fine. As long as we've got your email address, we're fine. Okay, next question. Go ahead. And then there's a big dud. Here I am thanking you for questions yesterday, and we've got nothing today.
All right, I got another one. So we're an ISO. It's Chris Whittington again. So we're an ISO. If I wanted to bring in, say, someone underneath my organization to do this, now I'm not reinventing the wheel. That's not what I mean. I'm not going to teach them like what you do. I'm going to have them go through your same exact training class. Is there a way to build a sales team underneath me for that ISO? Because, I have an LLC that does, business solutions, and this kind of falls underneath that. So I could bring in additional people to do this with me. Is there a benefit to that, or is that okay?
Yeah, a tremendous benefit. In fact, I'll be holding a class on that Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, West Coast time. You folks got an invite for that today, and you'll get an invite for that tomorrow. And so it's a separate call because there's only typically about 1 or 2% of you that want to build teams. So we'll go over that call separately tomorrow. But check your spam, check your junk. You'll have an invite in there already this morning. That was probably sent about an hour ago. And so then you'll get another one tomorrow morning. Okay?
So I'm sorry. I have a question regarding what he just said because, and then this is April, by the way. So when I was reading all the information that we were sent, I did see that it said that there was a referral fee if you brought someone in. What is the referral fee?
Yeah, we've done away with it. It hasn't been removed off of there. We used to have a referral fee bringing somebody in, but it backfired in our face. There's too many people that cheat, and people were bringing in referral people, friends, family members, friends of theirs, and they were splitting that, and then those people would never actually stay on the platform. So it became quite a scam. So, quite frankly, giving you the education, one of the reasons why we leave it on there is we want to let you know, that this existed at one time, but it was abused. And like anything, it was taken away when it's being abused at that level. So it was a beautiful program with great intentions that the people screwed up. And that was that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, you bet. Great question. Thank you.
Brett, can you put a link to that call on Thursday afternoon at 1 your time? Because I'm not getting those mailers because I previously attended some classes, and I'm not getting any of the mailers.
Oh, would you mind sending me an email, brett@mpbfunding.com, and just say, I'm thinking about maybe being a national sales manager in the subject line, okay?
Got it.
And we'll get you a link, brother. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Hey, are you able to see me, sir? Are you able to see me, sir? Do you want to?
Clear as a bell.
Are you? Okay, good. Good. Okay. All right. Anybody else? If you can't see me, I apologize. Give me a second, ma'am. Go to your email and follow those instructions if you want to see me live. Yeah, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Valerie, here. What is the script?
Yeah.
What's the script?
So I'll go over scripts tomorrow. 6 different scripts. It'll be boring for you. There'll be so many scripts. Yeah.
So that'll be the one for if the person is not selling their business.
Yeah. A standard telemarketing type script, that type of thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I have a question about on the Craigslist search, you managed to use 100,000 as an example. Could we go lower, or is that a waste of time because you just get a bunch of junk for things for sale?
Yeah, this is a great question. I get asked it very, very frequently, or not very often. Good God, I can't speak. I apologize. So take a look at this screen right now that I'm going to show you all. And what I did was, when I set this all up, I set it up off of EBITDA and EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and accrual, and EBITDA earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And so that may not mean a lot to you, ladies and gentlemen, but at 100 grand, if it's for sale for 100 grand or more, then there's a very high likelihood they're doing at least $35,000 a month gross, because they use multiples when they do a business valuation, whether it be blue sky or true multiples, and it's typically anywhere from 3 to maybe 7 times their monthly gross revenue or their adjusted gross. And so I went off of EBITDA and EBITDA, and inevitably over and over and over again, we worked on that number. And finally, we found that at $100,000, if it's for sale for that much, and they take a loan out, they're typically going to get a loan for about $35,000 on average most of the time, minimum. And that way, you're not wasting your time. If you go smaller, like with $50,000 on that number minimum box, you end up with a much, much smaller commission, and you're working every bit as hard. You with me? And so that's why we set it up at 100 grand, so that you get a nice entry-level commission. But at the same time, we always have people that want to go lower. I don't know why, other than I think that what people think is, well, Brett, it'll be a lot easier because that's the low-lying fruit. And it's like, yeah, well, get ready, because people who don't borrow money very often and they borrow small amounts, they'll put you through a painstaking hell versus companies that borrow money often, that are larger. They don't think twice about borrowing money. They gotta borrow money, but that little person will be a real pain in your ass, and that's why we don't like going small on those smaller loan amounts.
Got it. Great.
For you. So, yeah, great question, by the way. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so just bear with me. Now, look, here's the deal, okay? Couple things real quickly. If you started training me on a database right now, I'd probably go into immediate overload. It'd be like, oh, God, here we go. My mind does not conceptualize things very often till I've seen it the third or fourth or the fifth time. I usually can't keep up, this type of thing. So I've been doing this remotely since 2009, not in this database, but other databases like Sales Genie, Info USA, and Hoover's. Back in the day, you would order your data each day. Now you're in complete control. You don't have to order your data anymore. So I'm just going to take you over. It's going to be very relaxed. I'm going to take my time. The beauty of this is you're going to have this on film. You're going to have this on video later today. And then just keep it. Hold on to it. This is day 3 of 4. Yesterday was day 2 of 4. The first day was day 1 of 4. Hold on to any of these that you want to keep. And in the event that you ever want one of these, just reach out and say, send day 2 of 4, or send day 3 of 4, or send day 1 of 4, or send day 4 of 4, and do it in the subject line. And then you don't have to put anything in the body. And we'll send these out to you again and again and again. Over the years, you're going to want to use these. Over the months to come, you're going to want to use these, believe me. All right, so on your screen right now, everybody should see a company by the name of Data Axle Reference Solutions. Everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, really, it's called Reference Solutions Data Axle. So if you're going to reference this, which you will, you're going to have to, you're going to type in Reference Solutions, not Data Axle, okay? So where are you going to get this? You see here I'm logged in. I could log off right now, but I'm logged in already for you, so we're ready to go. Where did I get this? I got this at a library about 180 miles north of me, because the problem in Medford, Oregon, Ashland, Oregon, it's a small, more of a rural community. We're growing, but the bottom line is a lot of the tools that are available to more of the inner cities and the bigger cities, we don't have available to us. So this tool is available through your local library or through libraries in your outlying regions. In this case, I got this library card through the Oregon Duck campus, and I just went online and did it. So you don't have to go to the library. You can actually go online and join your library or an outlying library. Now, the moment I start to say this, it seems to lose its pizzazz. You're like, yeah, whatever. I don't, no big deal. But you got to hang in there, because you got to understand I'm about ready to unlock 752 different types of businesses for you that are going to have names, phone numbers, the owner of the name, the type of business it is, a tremendous amount of data, and the data is free. You life insurance salespeople, you commercial lines insurance salespeople, you window salespeople, you garage door salespeople, you realtors, you mortgage brokers, the list goes on and on. You're never going to have to pay for data again. And believe me, I'm as bad as any of you. I've had it happen to me where I had to start and stop my ad campaigns over the years, in those early years, because I couldn't afford data. It happens to all of us. I'm not immune to that, and many of you are not immune to it that have ever done this. And it's a terrible place to be, because you're excited, you want to get started, but you don't have data. Well, now you've got a data source available to you. It's through your local library. What you're going to get is a card in person. You're going to get a card in person, a library card, or you can get one online. You do not have to go to the library. You do not have to go to the library. You can do this online in your local library. So let's do this. So right here, you've got businesses, and underneath this, you've got jobs. Now, by now, you should stop looking for a job. In fact, I kind of have a burn your ship mindset. Hernan Cortez, 1519, arrives in the New World a little over 500 years ago, and he teaches you and I all something for generations to come. At the time, he takes his 11 ships, he takes his 600-plus men on these 11 ships, he takes his management team, and what he does is he has them take everything off of the ships of value, and then he sends a command to his managers, burn the ships, sending a clear message to everybody, we will not be turning back. We either make it here or we die here. And if you make that type of commitment to this industry, whether it be in our platform or someone else's platform in this industry, for the next 10 business days starting on Monday, I can tell you right now, it's going to change your life, financially speaking, for the rest of your life. But you're going to have to make a commitment. But it's not a big commitment. It's not as though it's going to take you months or years. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on these 104 million businesses. Okay, and we're going to start the search right here with this button. So we click on the button. Sometimes it takes a while to buffer in your smaller communities. Don't worry about it. It'll eventually click up. Now over here, you've got quick search. And right here, you've got advanced search. Quick search, we see the black line blinking on and off. That's just an indicator that if you'd like, you can look at one business at a time. That's not a good idea. And for this particular reason, where you want to build a database, okay, or have a database on hand. So we want to see hundreds, if not thousands, or tens of thousands, or 100,000 businesses at a time. So we're going to go to advanced search. So we click on that. Wait a moment here. It'll buffer. There we go. And we've got all sorts of things that go on, and a lot of us, like me, if you were teaching me, start to get intimidated. It's okay. We're not going to go quickly here. Not a lot to this. We're going to go up and down this left-hand side for a minute here, okay? First things first, we go down to executives when you hop in here, and you go down to executive title. Not executive name, but executive title. And you can click on the square box right here that's white and empty with a black outline. Or you can click on the word executive. Or you can click on the word title. So let's click on the word title. And sure enough, this box turns blue, has a check mark in it. And interestingly enough, since I clicked on it, it's now out here in the center. So here's your executive titles, like administrative executive, administrator, board member, chairman, chief executive officer. And I left click on this little gray box, right click, pull it down. There's all the titles, like owner and partner and such, okay? So that's one category. It's going to be real important to you going forward. Now, another category that's very important to you is under business type. And what you're looking at here is major industry group. Again, we can click on this little box right here. And when we click on the box, we end up with it turning blue, white check mark. And sure enough, out here, we scroll down, there's all your major industry groups. If I unclick it, watch right here, this will disappear. So I click on it, and major industry group disappears. So if you accidentally click on one, like keyword, you just unclick it. That's all you do, no big deal. So what we're going to do, we want to click on major industry group because we've got to go after certain types of businesses. So in a minute, I'm going to show you how to get in to these subcategories and see these 752 different types of businesses under major industry groups. So last but not least, we're going to need a city or a state. So we click on the word city, and we've got a blue box with the white check mark. And sure enough, down here, here's the category we're going after. Now, someone yell out a state in the United States, please.
Utah, Oklahoma.
Okay, we're going after Utah. Now I could type right in here Utah and press go, but I want to show you how the tool works alphabetically for all of our states here, okay? So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, it's alphabetical. You can click on this little black button, on, off, or you can hold it down. Or you can click on this button up here, this little black arrow tip, hold it down, or click on, off, or you can do what I love, and that is a lot more controlling for me, is I left click on this gray box, and I right click at the same time, pulling up and down. Okay, so we're going to go down through the A's, B, C, D, E, F, G, so on, down to Utah, and we're going to click on Utah. Now watch what happens when I click on Utah. It turns powder blue. And more importantly, it's over here and it's selected. Now what if I would have clicked on Texas also? Well, it would turn powder blue, and Texas would be over here, and you're like, well, shoot, I don't want Texas, Bret. Well, what do? Well, go ahead and click on it. It's selected over here, and watch. Click on it, and now it's no longer here, and it's no longer powder blue. Now let's click on it again. If I wanted, I could click on it over here to get rid of it, as opposed to over here. I click on Texas, and it's gone. So again, if I click on Vermont and Virginia Island and Virginia, and I don't want those, I just click on Vermont over here, and when I click on it over here under the selected, it'll no longer be powder blue, and it'll disappear from here. Watch. Click on it, and it's no longer powder blue. Or I could click on the Virgin Islands, and Virgin Islands would be gone over here. So I click on it, and sure enough, it's gone. Last but not least, I click on Virginia, and Virginia is gone. Now I need to show you something here so I can keep you out of trouble. Okay, so we go down to Pennsylvania, click on Pennsylvania. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to a screen here and introduce you to a man that you're not going to want to run into. This is not a good man. This is a man that's going to get you. And I'll explain that in a moment here in length. It'll take me a couple minutes, but it'll be well worth your time. So we're staring at a guy by the name of Stuart Abramson. What has Stuart Abramson done? As I scroll down here, what does he do? Well, you see right here it says Abramson versus Oasis Power, LLC, case number. And then we scroll down, and what we're going to see on a repetitious basis is more and more of these. There is Abramson again. That's the one that I just had, but I accidentally screwed up and then scrolled upward. So now we've got Abramson versus Fed Insurance Company. These are not small companies, by the way. These are lawsuits that pay $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $15 million. Let's go to page 2 of Google. And here he is, Abramson versus AP Gas and Electric. Again, not a small company. In fact, in here is Select Quote. Many of us know Select Quote and who they are from their national branded commercials. But here's Abramson versus the CSS Apartment Homes. All right, the list goes on and on. If you go through this, he's a lawyer. He is into getting people. Here he is, Abramson versus Allen Marketing Group. Now, what is going on there? Look at me on the screen. Here's what's going on, okay? He goes to the state fair in June. He goes in July. He goes in August, whenever it is. He goes to the local rodeos. He goes to the landscaping shows. He goes to the home improvement shows. He goes to the sportsman shows. He goes to automobile shows. He goes to RV shows. All these varying different shows. There's way more shows than what I've talked about. And what he does is he takes his business card and he puts it in the punch bowl for the drawing, or the fish bowl, or whatever they've got going on for the raffle or the drawing. And so he gets a call a week later from Andersen Windows as an example, and they say, hey, we're so sorry, Stuart, you did not win the free window package from Andersen Windows, but what would you like a free quote? I mean, we've all been there. A lot of us, anyway, have been there. And then what they do is they try and talk you into doing business with them, and he would be like, no, I'm not interested in a free quote. Okay. Well, I'm so sorry you didn't lose. Have a great day. Yeah, you too. He's very nice to those people on that initial call, okay? But then Andersen Windows being a big company, one of the things they do, which a lot of big companies do, is they sell their database. Now, the moment they sell that database, now when that company from the data has bought the database calls, that's against the law. And so although this list has been vetted for the no-call list, the bottom line is you need to be very careful in the state of Pennsylvania because he's very, very crafty. He's made well in excess of $100 million. He got me because what he did was he got one of you. And he got one of your predecessors. It was a little over 14 years ago. He chased me 15 years ago, actually. He chased me for about 14 years. And at the end of the day, we finally settled out of court on behalf of one of our ISOs. I had to pay for it. He's gotten now 4 other people. And so you've been forewarned, and legally, since it's on the recording, and I've gone over it in links, both audio and visual, I have no extension. So if you don't pay attention and you do telemarket in Pennsylvania proactively, outbound, it's okay for you to take calls from Pennsylvania, but it's not okay for you to call into the state of Pennsylvania. Watch yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it. I could click here on selected, or I could click here where it's powder blue. It doesn't matter. It's gone. So we're going to go after businesses today in Utah on behalf of Vadim. We're going to go up here. And I did this last week. I haven't done this in a long time, but I'm going to show you your options. You could go after the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. So that means he or she, they have registered as a Chief Executive Officer, or when they came on board after the company was founded, maybe they were hired on, then they're registered at the state or federal level as a CEO. Now, you've also got the CFO, which is handling all the money, the Chief Financial Officer handling the financial decisions. Okay. Now let's scroll down. We left click on this little gray box. We right click and pull it down. Let's go down to the letter O for owner. Click on owner. And then you've got partner, because those are decision makers, and you've got president. So it's a good group of people. But today for the second time, I did this last week. I've never done this before. What we're going to do is we're going to go after only the owner. They have to have registered at the state or federal level or both as the owner. So we get rid of president by clicking on one of the two sides. We get rid of partner. We get rid of CFO. And we get rid of Chief Executive Officer. Now we're going after anyone that calls themselves owner of a business in Utah. Now, last but not least, this is very simple. Right here, this does not look like there's 752 different types of businesses, but watch as we unlock little secrets to this tool. So let's say we want to go after the construction industry. We click on it, and it turns powder blue. Or we can click on the little square box that's white, and it turns powder blue. Or we can click on the number 15 through 17 right here, and it turns powder blue with the white check mark. So again, a very forgiving tool. Now, nothing really happened. Where the hell's the business underneath construction, the sub-businesses under that major industry group? Well, what you got to do is go just to the left of that check mark. There's a little black plus symbol. Inside that black outlined white bodied box, and we click on the black plus symbol, and things start to happen. We get a little drop down, but we really don't get much drop down. And we want to go after specialty trade contractors like framers and people that work with concrete and painters. So let's get rid of heavy construction for now, number 16, just by clicking on it. And let's get rid of building construction general contractors. Goodbye. And let's expand on construction specialty trade contractors. So here we go. How do we do it again? Right next to the little white check mark and the blue box is a little black plus symbol in a white box with a black outline. We click on it, and voila, there's your plumbing and heating, air conditioning companies, and your painters and wallpaper hangers, and your electrical work, and carpentry, and floor laying, anything carpet related, okay, for laying carpet, your concrete workers, roofing and siding, well drilling, and so on. Now, some of you are in the crowd and you don't want to go after construction companies. That's okay. We're going to intertwine that with retail trade, and I'm going to go after food stores and drinking establishments. So here we go. We click on retail trade. Nothing happens. We already know that because we've got to click on the little black plus symbol. And we click on that black plus symbol, and here we go. There's your building materials and hardware stores. Well, we don't want that. Let's click on it and make it go bye-bye. And we don't want general merchandise stores, so let's click on it and make it go bye-bye. Yes, we want the food stores, so let's leave that the way it is. Let's get rid of the automotive dealer and service stations. Sayonara. No mas. Same thing with apparel. Bye-bye. Same thing with home furnishings, bye-bye. And let's leapfrog over the top down to 59 and get rid of number 59, miscellaneous retail. So we've got the food stores. Again, how do we break it down? So we've got more food stores. Again, you know what to do by now. There's nothing to this. It's right next to the little check mark. It's the black plus symbol. You click on it. And there's your grocery stores, your meat and fish markets, your fruit and vegetable markets, your candy, nut, and confectionery stores, your dairy products stores, your retail bakeries, and miscellaneous food stores. All right. So now let's go down to the eating and drinking places. And let's click on that little black plus symbol. And we've got our eating places and our drinking places. Again, we'd have to click on the little black plus symbol next to eating places. And now there's your virtual kitchens, your food kiosk, your ice cream parlors, your pizza parlors, your caterers, your coffee shops, your juice bars, and so on. And last but not least, our drinking places. Again, click on the little black plus symbol, and we end up with our bars, cocktail lounges, nightclubs, pubs, comedy clubs, and so on. So that's a tremendous number of business types of businesses. What do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 20, I'd say 40, 45 different types of businesses out of 752. Is marijuana in here? Cannabis, CBD, hemp, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Don't complicate it. Anything related to marijuana, cannabis, hemp, 420, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it's in here. Pornography is in here. Alcohol-related businesses, you've got them right here. All right? So, yeah, it's all in here. Everything's in here. Aviation, landscaping, the list goes on and on. Insurance agencies, real estate companies, anything you want. Churches, nonprofits are in here. So you've got it all. So we're going after Utah businesses that show the owner, and it's these types of companies. So here we go. We go right up here to the lime green button. Watch this button up here in the corner for a moment. It never leaves there no matter what I do. It always keeps showing up no matter what I do. So in any time you want, you just view results by clicking on it. And now we're going to get our results in Utah. So we have 5,310 results in this lime green or green area over here. 5,310 results. We've got the company name here running vertically down your screen. We've got the executive name. We know that Matthew Savas is the owner. We know Angel Nava is the owner. Todd Smith is the owner of 24-hour Rotor-Man Plumbing or Rotor-Man Plumbing. Now, if I wanted Todd's information, how would I get Todd's information? Well, I could just look at it here. That's not hard. But I could always click on it. I could click on any of these, as a matter of fact. And then if I wanted to, what I could do is go up here and download them or print them off. Okay? Now, a couple other things I want to show you about the tool. Right up here, some of you are looking at the email addresses. About 10% of the time, they've got email addresses. So in this case, we've got 553 email addresses. The problem you've got is these email addresses are going to cost you money. And they're going to cost you a lot of money compared to email addresses that other companies in the industry sell. There's not very many I would trust. If I was you, I'd be careful. One of the only reasons why we ever started selling email addresses, and we sell email addresses for businesses, is because we got sick of our people getting ripped off out there by all these companies. So we do sell email addresses. Again, whether it's us or the two other competitors we've had out there that are any good that sell email addresses, trust me, it's way cheaper to buy it from outside sources than it is here on Reference Solutions, okay? Now, another thing that's going to be hard on you, ladies and gentlemen, especially you analyticals that just love information, you're going to want to go in here and look at the size of the company, the number of employees, the amount of gross revenue they make, and so on and so forth. But I have to tell you, the bottom line is this. It's not very accurate data. So use your head there and understand that data is not very accurate at all. Now, yesterday I mentioned 7-Eleven. Someone asked us, what franchises don't you want us contacting? Or, you know, I'm kind of paraphrasing there, but what to stay away from? Well, look underneath here. It says corporate tree or abbreviated corporate tree. And then it's white and blue, white and blue, white and blue. That's to break up your eyes. So white goes with this business, blue goes with this business, white goes with this business, blue goes with this business. That's why it's there. But there's nothing in these boxes. Well, give me a minute and let me show you an example. Uh-oh. There you go. In fact, there's 7-Eleven right there. Now, 7-Eleven is really a corporate entity. They think of themselves, they really do not treat their franchisees very well as a franchisor. So they have a little Star Trek Enterprise looking character here, or a lobster or a crawdad looking character with a green arrow. Stay away from those that have this underneath corporate tree. So let's go to the second page. How do we go to page 2? We go to page 2 right down here by scrolling on this dimly lit arrow. And now we're on page 2. Or we can go up here to page 2. And if we're down at the top or down at the bottom or up at the top, we can scroll through the pages. So we go to page 3. Let's get past 7-Eleven. We still got all the 7-Elevens. Page 4. Page 5. And now we've gotten to A&W Restaurant. There you go. A lot of A&W restaurants are owned by the corporation, not by people like you and I that have bought into the franchise. So stay away from these particular A&Ws. There's still a lot of independent A&Ws out there. You'll find them as you go forward that don't have this corporate tree. You're welcome to reach out to them. So all these other companies down here don't have that little crawdad or, you know, Star Trek Enterprise lobstery looking thing. So all those are available to you. And it's kind of rare that you'll see that, by the way. But again, if you see that over here, here's one here, Acor, Jack Johnson. This is a publicly traded company. All right, so any questions about how to use the tool or this data? Now's the time. Go ahead.
Awesome tool.
Did I lose y'all?
Is
it
okay to use like a separate database, but like in a like similar file? Like I use A to Z database, so like I feel like it would be comparable, and I'm pretty like affluent in how that all works.
Yeah,
like similar
in fact, A to Z is another option that's at the library for a lot of people that like. We've got A to Z down here in Medford. The only thing I've found, and I'm not going to knock. I don't want to bash what you've got. You've got a great tool there. It's awesome.
Sure.
But what I've found is not quite as accurate, but it's no big deal. I mean, it's very accurate. So it's a great tool. I'm not going to knock it at all. The only reason I teach in Reference Solutions is I wanted to be able to teach the most accurate tool I could find, and this is the one that's data more often than not is the most accurate. And the reason behind it, you can read all about us up here. You can read all this information at a later date. But they make adjustments to their database faster than Hoover's, Sales Genie, A to Z, Info USA. And interestingly enough, they're a combination of all of those databases combined into one. And that's the really neat thing about it. No duplication, this type of thing. But no, you've got a great data source there. I'm not going to knock that data source at all. That is another free option that you ladies and gentlemen will see out there. I get no financial benefit to you working with Reference Solutions other than if you have a business owner do a loan with us. So I just do everything I can to try and get you ladies and gentlemen, especially in your initial days, started without any financial layout or at all. So thank you, sir, very much. Yeah, A to Z is a great tool.
I have a question. How exactly do we access data axle from the library? Is through the library website?
Yeah, it is the library website.
I tried to go to my library's website. I don't see where I could.
So you're going to have two choices. You're going to have two choices from the outside when you're remote. You can go on and you can order books, which would be e-books. They're not going to let you check books out, but you can order an e-book. And then they've got an area over here, typically in this area, where you'll have a blank area for reference tools, any type of tools you want to use. And that's where you type in the word Reference Solutions, and it'll show up. Okay. Now, like the gentleman said, like down here in Medford, Oregon, I wouldn't see Reference Solutions, but it would give me the alternative of A to Z. And there's another one I think is called Green Tree. But yeah, great question. Now you can always go to outlying libraries. Go to a different library like I did. So, in fact, I've got two accounts, one of which is out of Multnomah County up in Portland, Oregon, because I lived up there prior to 5 years ago. So, great question. Thank you, brother. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Do they have websites out here?
Like domain names?
Yeah, of the company, the company website, or
No, they do not. Yeah, that's a great question. I've never been asked that before. Okay, should we get out of here? Should I show you how to market this database? Everyone ready?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Here we go. All right, let's get out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you all an email right now. You can listen to it later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play it for you on the screen. Okay? Now, this email that I just sent you, you'll clearly be able to see in the subject line, it says 40-second marketing message. So give me a second here. I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to play it for you. What this is a response to somebody who has used a piece of marketing I'm about ready to show you. So what I want to do is I want you to hear this response for a moment. So here we go.
Mr. Barlow, this is David Gibson with Chicago Do-It Skills. My phone number is 847-845-6050. You sent me a solicitation, but really I'm not interested in that because I fortunately don't need it. But I do want to tell you what a creative way of doing this. Like with the envelope, it looks like a card. I mean, it was great. It's really smart of you, and I just want to compliment your marketing. That was it. But if you want to call me, it's 847-845-6050.
All right, so let's psychoanalyze this for a moment. I'm gonna go out of that screen. I want you to think about something for a moment. First off, the gentleman gave his business name. He gave his personal name. He provided his phone number. He told Mr. McBarlow that he does not want to do business with him. But then he went on to compliment him 4 different times about how great this piece of marketing was, how smart it was, how creative it was. Imagine, typically when you're advertising people and they don't want to do business with you, they tell you to F off, unsubscribe me, all this other crap that we do nowadays because we're so contentious and toxic and mean. We're just downright mean-spirited. But I want you to listen to this again and understand that me personally, I've far exceeded 1 million of these. What do I mean by that? Well, what's going to happen to you is the moment you get one of these, Sylvester or Maurice or Valerie, you're going to send me a copy of this. And it's very common the first 2, 3, 4 times you're like, my God, listen to this guy's message. And he wants to do business with me. Or Holy Toledo, listen to this message. And the guy doesn't want to do message. The lady doesn't want to do message with me, or business with me. But look how nice she is. And it's like, I know. I've been there so many times with myself and with others since the 80s when I thought of this marketing idea I'm about ready to show you that is unimaginable. I'm about ready to show you what I consider the single most powerful marketing mechanism I've ever seen, bar none, period. I'll take on Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels on this. I'll take on anybody in the world from a marketing standpoint. Last night, I had a little over 300 people that I taught this to in person in Ashland, Oregon, in the real estate industry. And I actually had a couple ladies that were crying in the middle of the meeting. And the reason behind it is they're just so frustrated from a marketing standpoint because as females, oftentimes what they said was they're so worried about being molested and being raped, and they have to work in groups. And so an inbound call means everything to them versus a proactive outbound call. And that's what you're going to get here. You're going to get these inbound calls. So let's listen to this once again here. Let me get you on the screen here. Again, press star 6 if you have background noise and just joined us. Press star 6, please. All right, here we go. Listen really closely.
Mr. Barlow, this is David Jacobson with Chicago Do It.
Gives his name and the company. Phone number.
56050. You send me a solicitation, but really, I'm not interested in.
Not interested.
Fortunately, I don't need it, but I do want to tell you what a creative way of doing this.
Creative.
Envelope. It looks like a card. I mean, it was great.
Great.
Smart of you.
Smart of you. Compliment you. That was it.
47845.
You couldn't have a nicer person on the other end of the phone saying no to you. You just couldn't. I mean, it's unimaginable to me. So without further ado, give me a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you all this piece of marketing so you can stare at it. Now, you've got to bear with me because at first, some of you are going to look at it and go, I don't get it. Others are going to say, I get it. And the others are going to be like, I kind of get it, but I need to know more. So, what are you looking at in your email? Okay? What you're looking at, give me a second here. Let me take you over there so you can see it on the screen because for a lot of you, it's going to your spam, your junk, your promotions, your updates. Okay? What you're looking on the screen here is a black envelope. So let's just do the math. Some of you are 30, some of you are in your 20s, some of you are in your 40s or 50s or 60s like me. We've got one of you that's 90 years old, 89 and a half years old on the phone right now. And I can guarantee you in your lifetime, you've never received a black envelope in your entire life. In fact, I've only had 2 people in my entire career, having trained well over 300,000 people in the mortgage industry and this industry, that have a black envelope in the mail, and in both cases it was a Ford Lincoln Mercury advertisement for a leasing program. So this is an extraordinarily abnormal piece of marketing in a world where everyone does the same thing, because they're all urban dictionary lemmings and they all follow each other and follow suit. And at the end of the day, they end up with the same results. When you do a mailer, you typically end up with about 1% results with a white mailer. If you follow it up with a phone call, you may get as high as 3 to 4%. These are national statistics. You can look them up. But this is going to rank much higher than that in numbers. Think about it. You've never gone out to your mailbox. Imagine going out to your mailbox today, especially if you were a business owner, and you got those 9 pieces of mail, 3 pieces of mail, 28 pieces of mail, and sitting in the middle, smack dab in the middle or on the top or on the bottom, is a black envelope. I mean, what is that old saying? Curiosity kills the cat. The next thing, they open it up, and what's inside here is your flyer. And so you may be going after auto body repair shops, or you may be going after restaurants and bars or dentists. You have those flyer templates, and you just put that flyer template in there, okay? So you're going to want to handwrite these. Again, you're going to want to handwrite these. So let me show you something real quickly here, because that's the thing that becomes difficult for you, is you can't use a blue ballpoint pen. You can't use a black ballpoint pen on these. So what you've done, we've taken the liberty of showing you here. I'm teeing it up right now. This set of Sharpies that you can get anywhere. You can get them online, Amazon, you can get them anywhere, Staples, Office Max, Office Depot, or you can go in person and get these damn near anywhere at big box stores. So this is in your email now. It's in your email now. I'll open it up and show you it here real quickly. So there they are. It's a container of Sharpie metallic. You can see the word metallic in Spanish and English right here. And here's your gold and bronze and silver metallic markers, Sharpies. That metallic is like a metallic paint, and it lies on top of the black envelope. Works very, very well. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to show you the black envelope again here. Give me a second. Keep in mind that when you're using the black envelope, that you're going to want to handwrite these. You're going to want to do these one at a time. You know, like the lady said yesterday, do I hire somebody? This type of thing. It's up to you. I never did, no matter how big I got, no matter how much volume I had. I still did 10 of these every day, 5 days a week in the morning. Not Saturday, not Sunday, not holidays. Inevitably, what happened to me was I just constantly had business coming in from the black envelopes, whether it be from 7 to 10 days ago, if I were doing it recently, or whether it be, a month from now, a year from now, someone's calling saying, hey, by the way, I had this on my corkboard, or I had this under a magnet on my freezer or refrigerator here at work, and I'm interested in talking to you about a business loan. I've got your flyer in front of me. And so, anyway, now I'm going to show you all what not to do. It's very important that you understand. So I'm going to go to the subject line right here. Everyone see this up here, this area? Do you see where it says search mail right here, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
All I got to do is I need to find what I call the white envelope. I don't know where it is, but there it is. January 22nd. Got another one here on the 24th of December. Got another one here, 9/6 of 2023. Got one right here from 2022. I do these every single solitary week, so all I got to do is just click on it for 2022, and there it is, white envelope, what not to do, okay? So we're staring at this. First and foremost, don't use a white envelope. It won't work very well for you. And those of you that are not looking for a job yet, and those of you not looking for a business opportunity yet, if you use a white envelope, you will be real soon, about a week or two from now. Okay? So mark my words, it's a waste of your money and it's a waste of your time. And then every bit as important is do not put the name of the company on here. In this case, this is Robert Padilla or Robert Padilla. Padilla or Padilla Dental Laboratory. Make sure you spell laboratory right. Everyone understand this is misspelled here? What should it be? Does anyone know?
Sounds
Laboratory.
There you go. Yeah, you're laughing. So make sure you take the time to spell this stuff right, but don't put the business name in here. Why? Well, look at me for a moment. You want this to be like a Trojan horse. What was inside the Trojan horse? Does anyone know?
Soldiers.
Soldiers. And so what's your soldier inside the black envelope? What's your soldier? Your soldier is that flyer. And they don't know that that's coming. Because in their minds, what they're saying themselves is, oh my God, this must be a wedding announcement. Or, oh my God, this must be a graduation announcement. Because this is just so abnormal. I never receive anything like this. This must be some sort of an announcement. Okay. Something from our family. Maybe they had a baby and they're talking about, sending out, letters about having had a baby. And so they sit down to read this in anticipation of a college graduation announcement for their niece or their nephew or their grandson or their granddaughter. And they're like, well, I'll be damned. This is for business loans. What a great way to market. In fact, what you're going to hear from these business owners over and over and over again, it happens all the time. They're going to ask you, where did you get these envelopes? This is a common denominator, by the way. Where did you get these envelopes? So I've taken the liberty here of teeing that up for you. One of the things about my training is there is no stone unturned, ever. And so you can easily look at my website here, The Black Envelope Company, which is www.blackenvelopes.com. We click on it, and we go right to the website. You've got your testimonials, like the lady was talking about yesterday, right here. There's some testimonials going down there. And then we've got how to order them online. We've got request to invoice, a privacy notice, go back to home. But anyway, blackenvelopes.com. That's where you can get your envelopes, both plural and singular, blackenvelope.com and blackenvelopes.com. Now, the reason why I started selling black envelopes, the reason why I bought those domain names, you have to understand, okay, a little bit of a backstory. Now, I know some of you are like, God, Bret, I don't like your stories. Okay, well, get past it. I understand. Tomorrow's our last day together. You don't ever have to listen to me again. All the other classes we've got, you don't have to come to the class if you don't want to. It's not the end of the world. So bear with me for a moment here. I see you there, Jennifer. You just landed on the site. I see you, Michael, on blackenvelopes.com. I get a report every time you land on the site. I can see you, Samuel, on the site. Thank you for going on there. Anyway, anyone know about 2x4s or 2x6s or 2x12s or 2x10s? Anyone know about that? Anyone?
They're all half-inch short.
My God. I've never had anyone actually say what you said. What did you just say?
A half-inch short, the measurements.
So they started getting shorter over the years, right? They started getting chintzy. Didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yep. So it's no longer a 2x4. It's like 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. This type of thing.
1.5, yeah.
Yep, 1.5. There you go. Great job.
By 3.5.
So what happened, like, it's like hamburgers at McDonald's. You buy a hamburger 25 years ago, they were huge. Now you go in, it's like, where's the meat? Shit, it's all buns. Excuse my language. But anyway, what happened was the three primary controlling entities of envelopes, like Hallmark cards, when you go to a Hallmark store or get Hallmark envelopes, what they've done over the years is just downsize and make these envelopes smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you go to get a 4x5 envelope and you go to put a 4x5 flyer in there and it doesn't fit. Now, our flyers that you have, you ladies and gentlemen have, are actually 5.5 wide by 7.5 tall. So we custom build our black envelopes to 6 by 9 so that you don't have to fight it when you put it in. It slops right in there. It'll still use a single stamp, doesn't need to be a double stamp, and off you go. So that's why we got into the envelope business, was we just got sick and tired of people saying, hey, I ordered this on Amazon or I got this from Staples, and they're the wrong size. The flyers won't fit in there. So then they have to buy a paper cutter and cut each down to size. Well, the problem is you're not going to make the die cut is so precise professionally when they build you these flyer templates and they build you your flyers that it's really aesthetically perfect for your eye. But you're never going to have them be aesthetically perfect if you're in your front room or your bedroom or office at home or wherever, your van down by the river, using a paper cutter, cutting the borders off of these to make them fit in an envelope that you bought online, so, or at the store like Office Max or Staples, this type of thing. So that's why we got into the business of making envelopes. So again, I can see there's about 12 of you on there right now, 13 of you on there right now. Now I'm going to send you something else right now. You know, I probably, the only reason I do this is because there's people in the crowd that need you to leave an impact on them. And more so than most. Many of you are like, I think it's Missouri that is the show me state. Does that sound right to everybody? Isn't Missouri the show me state?
I believe so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you. What am I going to show you? I'm going to show you a black building. You're going to say to yourself, well, what the hell are you showing me a black building for? Well, look at this, 1999. I still own this building. It's just a different type of building now. It's not a home loan and refinance center. I got out of that industry in 2006, December. Perfect timing. But look at this date right down here in the corner, 11/19/1999. Someone asked me what was I doing the day before this picture was taken.
What were you doing the day before this picture was taken?
Thank you very much. What's your first name?
Carolyn.
Carolyn, when you fund your first loan, make sure you request 1% extra for the question. Sound good?
Sure.
Thank you for participating. Appreciate it. That was a long silence, and I needed your help. So here we go, Carolyn. You ready? You ready?
Yep.
Day before this picture was taken on 11/18/1999, a little over 25 years ago, I was in this building right here in these double doors. In the back, I had a big conference room. I had 31 men and women, young, medium, and old, back when they called them men and women. And they all flew in. We flew them in on our dime to educate them for 2 full weeks, put them up in a hotel, and each morning they would show up at 8 a.m. and they would work with me until 10:30 a.m. and then I would send them out because I don't believe in 8 hours of training. I believe it's too hard on us. I believe we brain dump it. I believe it's the problem with most of our educational system, quite frankly. I like to be short, sweet, to the point, and get out of there, and that's how I train. So I trained them until 10:30 that morning in here that day on the 18th, 1999 of November on how to use the black envelope. And at the end of it, we handed out pieces of data to each of them, 10 pieces of data, and they hand-addressed those black envelopes with those Sharpies. And then they each came forward when they were done in single file. This is back when we were still kind to people, not animals like we are nowadays, most of us, or impatient. And what would happen is they would drop it into a bag that I had up front, my Santa Claus bag that I played at Christmas time. And I would give them a $100 bill, and they would leave and go see the town. Out here would be all their cars. They all had rental cars on us. And they'd go see the Portland sites, maybe grab lunch. Back then, $100 went a long ways. Get a little gas, maybe go up the gorge, go see Mount Hood, whatever. Everybody drove a car. There was no such thing as the word green. The world was not ending at that time in regards to global warming. No one really gave a damn about ride sharing. It was a beautiful world. Excuse myself for going off there. Not a lot of pressure on us back then like there is now. I mean, hell, just the fact that I brought this up makes some of you, your head spin right now. You're like, oh, God, he must be anti-green. No, I'm not at all. At all. I'm just telling you that everybody left in their own car and went their separate ways with a mission in mind, with a $100 bill. Me, once they were gone, I had a big Santa Claus bag of black envelopes, and I was going to go to the post office. Said goodbye to Stacy, who was right here. She had just basically started with me about 4 years prior to that. She eventually went on to become my number one executive assistant, and I put her through school. She became an attorney. She's one of our she is our lead attorney in charge of all of our attorneys. Been with me about 30 years now, but she was sitting right over here as a processor and a secretary, receptionist, gatekeeper. Said goodbye to her, went outside right over here. My car was parked right here on 11/18/1999, and I went to put that Santa Claus bag in the back of that car, put my key in the trunk, opened up the trunk, looked up, and the building was white. It was not black the day before this picture was taken. And it had black letters, not white letters like it does in this picture. And I said to myself, oh my God. And I stopped everything, went to my car, got my car phone out of the cradle, called Jose, my lead maintenance man, been with me for over 30 years also. And I said, Jose, get to the McLaughlin building, go by Dick's Color Center. These are real companies. You can look them up. Lou Boss owns it, a very good friend of mine, Dick's Color Center. And I said, get 55 gallons of black paint. I'll have it waiting for you. I'll have the brushes, and I'll have the roller skins and the handles waiting for you. I'll have the paint sprayer ready for you. Do not pressure wash the building. I don't care if the paint falls off in 3 or 4 months. I want this building black today, which was 11/18/1999. I said, how many people do you need for the job? And he said, like take 3 or 4 with me. He did. I paid them all like I do now at the end of every day. And I showed up with kielbaskas and hot dogs, cervezas, treat them like gold. That's why they stay with us. That's why the company continues to build my property management group over the years. And he painted this building black. Him and his team paid him each an extra $1,000 at the end of the day. I called Sandy at Sandy Signs, and I said, I need you to replace the black letters with white letters, coordinate with Jose, and I need those white letters up this evening. She said, I can't do it. I can do it tomorrow night. Tonight is date night. And I said, then spend your date night up on top of your man lift putting up these letters. I'll give you $1,000. She said, you give my husband and I each $1,000, and we'll spend date night up there putting up the white letters. I said, consider it done. So she put up the white letters after Jose had painted the building black after it was dark, outside, nighttime. And the next morning I showed up at 6:38 a.m. and took this photo from across the street at a very weird angle before my staff came in. That's why if you look right here, you see the word home is not showing like it is over here where it says home loans and refinances. The reason it's not showing is because there's a reader board right here. Big, huge gray post. Big, huge gray post. This is a 20-foot wide sign by 10 foot tall that's black. And when we turn it on, it's a red LED. It's very obnoxious. We don't turn it on in the off hours because they try and line up at the building or try and get a hold of us during the off hours. And so that's why it's not on. And the weird angle across the street is causing you, the audience, not to be able to see the word home loans and refinances on this side of the building. Anyway, to get to the point, this building was averaging 2.13 walk-ins a day. Now, you realtors and mortgage brokers, remember being back in the day? Do I have any realtors, mortgage brokers on the call at all right now? Anybody want to cough it up? Okay, great. Well, you know that you love walk-ins, right? They're free. Yeah, hell yeah. So we had a walk-in sheet. We had a little over 60 loan officers that worked in this building full-time, not the 31 I was training that were there for the training, but we had a little over 60 loan officers in the building, and we only had about 10 to 15% of them that would sign up for the sign-in sheet. I'm sure you know as a realtor that a lot of realtors and mortgage brokers are bums, right? You know that, right?
That's what my husband
You're
says.
laughing. Yeah, you're laughing. There you go. I mean, they're bums. So they don't work much. They don't advertise much. They don't show up to work much. But, we had 10 to 15% of the people that would sign up for that. They couldn't wait to sign up for that sign-up sheet. When Randy would be open the door, they'd be lined up right here at 5 minutes to 8, and they'd put their name right in there with Stacy on the sign-up sheet, and they'd be number one. And it upset people. It was so funny. What's your first name? Mind my asking you your first name?
It's Carolyn.
Carolyn, it's so funny how people get upset with you if you're the one that's first every day, right? It's like, hey, you're so greedy. It's like, well, the early bird gets the worm, right, Carolyn? I mean, come on. You're entitled to it.
If you build a better mousetrap, they will come.
Yeah, you plan on it, and you get your butt up, and you get in the office. But anyway, long story short, here we go, Carolyn. You ready? No internet to speak of at all. You're not using internet in this office. We had one computer down here at the end, and guys would do maybe a title report or something like that, but very few people. We may have had 1 or 2 people in the entire company that were using email addresses. We just didn't have techie people. They just weren't there in 99. But anyway, long story short, these people went to bed that night after dark. Some of them lived local. Not many lived in Milwaukee, Oregon. Most lived in Portland or Oregon City or Hillsboro or Lake Oswego or West Lynn, or Vancouver. But the following day, every single solitary loan officer we had in this building was lined at this door when Randy showed up. Nobody slept in. Everybody that was hungover, which is a lot of them, because that was just the way the industry was back then, drugs and alcohol, okay, took their Advil, took their Tylenol, and got their butt into the office. Everybody signed up, and we started to average within 90 days a little over 12 walk-ins a day. 6 times, you know, you hear the term now, 6X. They all want to sound so cool by saying 6X. We were doing 6 times our normal volume within 90 days, all because of a paint color. Now let's go 90 days later at the 180-day mark and understand that my attendance did not drop. I still had most of my mortgage brokers showing up, wanting to be on the call sheet, because we'd actually leveled out and we were averaging over 15 walk-ins a day on average, which meant, if you understand averages, some days we had 20, 25, 30 walk-ins. Some days we may have only had 5, 6, 7 walk-ins, but we had a hell of a lot of walk-ins, all because of the paint color. So if you're looking at that black envelope and you're poo-pooing that black envelope, understand this. Look at me on the screen. There's not a day that does not go by that you do not drive down the road, or that you could go back in your mind's eye on the most recent drive you've taken on your own, or in public transportation, or walked, or rode a bike past these businesses, and ask yourself, why aren't they black? Why aren't they black? I don't know, but I can tell you all, we had 107 locations in 7 western states that were black within the next 2.5 years, because Jose went on the road with his team and painted every one of our buildings black, and we just rolled in it. We were busy beyond words. So if you get a chance, maybe you're living in a van down by the river, get your butt out, go get some cans out of the ditch. You've been through this routine before, and rather than buying your heroin today, rather than buying your smack, rather than buying your methamphetamines today, those of you living in these homes, these boxes, rather than gambling today and tomorrow, gamble a little bit less, drink a little less, do a little less drugs, shop a little bit less. You're only going to have to be in a situation for the next 2 weeks where you take it down a notch like me. Maybe you don't drink as many Diet Cokes, and now you've got the spare money to be able to afford the postage and the black envelopes, and give this a try, because I can tell you right now, it's a life-changing event, or can be a life-changing event for you going forward. So I'm done for the day. Gave you everything I've got in the tank. Any questions overall about anything I spoke about today, or in general aside? Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome, brother. I appreciate the comment. Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
You went over how to find all these businesses on the database, and I also have the library, which has a host of databases, including the A to Z, and I don't know if this database is on there. But the question is, the scripts that you use to go along with this, we didn't go over.
Can't wait. Going to go over that tomorrow. Going to go over that at length tomorrow. Telemarketing, yes. Yeah.
What time is the session tomorrow? Same time?
Same bat channel, same phone number, same access code. We would never do that to you without giving you notice that it had changed. Yep.
Well, I'm not getting emails, so I did send you an email about that. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay. You betcha. Thank you. Yep.
I have
All
a
right.
question.
Yeah.
This is April. So, in the information that I had seen, it said that after the 4th day that we graduate from the training, is there like a certificate of completion or something that we receive?
No, you just get an email announcing the fact that you've graduated and we introduce you to your national sales manager. Unfortunately, we're not accredited yet. We're trying. We've been working on it for over 4 years, 4.5, 5 years. But for some reason, they just won't allow the industry to become licensed for training as of yet. It's going to happen. And when we do, that we'll hand out certificates, but not until then. That we're thinking that someday you'll need to be licensed, all the ISOs, and in that case, we'll pay for the licensing for our teammates. But there's nothing in the hopper now at all. So you're safe.
Because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to attend tomorrow, so I just, didn't know if I was
you're okay.
a big day.
Yeah, no, you're okay. No. So I'll go over graduation tomorrow, and I'll go over 3 different varying techniques of telemarketing, different than what you people are used to. Everything I do is different than what you're used to. There's no way that I could have closed a little over 800 loans a month doing this in my prime for the last 7 months I was in business in 2009 without doing things that were abnormal. So I'm going to teach you stuff that's abnormal again tomorrow, just like the Black Envelope or Craigslist, okay? But if you're not on the call, no big deal. Just listen to the recording. I will tell you this tomorrow. We're going to graduate you Friday morning. So I'll go over graduation. I'll go over all this tomorrow to include scripts. But don't worry about it, April. You're absolutely fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Anyone else before we get out of here?
Social media.
Great question. There's really only 2 ways that you can do this on social media that work. We have just right at 180,000 people that have been through my classes. And, I mean, we know where they're getting their business. They're telling us where they're getting their business. So, Facebook, Meta. If you advertise on Facebook Meta, take your money, put it in the bank, hold on to it. Don't spend it. It's a waste of your money to pay for ads. It ain't going to work. It will not work. I don't care what they tell you. You got to understand, my ad budget was a little over $2 million, and we couldn't get it to work. So your $2,000, your $200 is not going to do a thing at all. So here's how you get Facebook to work, Meta, okay? What you do is you join groups, RV groups, fishing and hunting groups, NFL groups, NASCAR groups, camping groups, women entrepreneurial groups, these types of groups. That's where you can make your money. And what you do is you just post your flyer on the wall and let your flyer do the work as it scrolls down the wall. So go join these groups, okay? Now, another method that works real well, and I don't do it. I never did do it. We're finding more and more people that are having very good luck with LinkedIn. I don't know how to do it, but it cannot be all that difficult, because I've mentioned it off and on over the course of the last year, maybe 2, 3, 4 times. And then the next thing you know, I've got 3, 4, 5 people that are doing it. I'm seeing it more and more. So don't discount LinkedIn. But again, they have a wall out there. You can run flyers down that wall. I'm assuming that's what people are doing. I'm really not on LinkedIn all that much. I just don't use it. It's not a real benefit to me. It's much more of a benefit to you, ladies and gentlemen, for marketing. We don't do any marketing. So anyway, there you go. That's your social media.
I have a question.
All right. Yeah.
On the welcome package, there was a pay structure with a place for signature at the bottom. Are we supposed to get that printed and sent back?
You know, when I first started, we actually had an ISO agreement, a contract like the rest of the industry, but no one will sign it. No one in the industry will sign these. And my competitors won't let you come on their platform without them. So they lose out on 80, 90%, 95% of their people. Us, we just got rid of the contract. What use is it? So those of you that are paranoid, you know, if you want a contract so you can sue me, you know who you are. You people that are just like, well, you know, I gotta be able to get you because I'm afraid you're gonna get me. It's like, okay, fine. If you want an ISO agreement, we got one, and you're gonna have to be a Philadelphia lawyer to read it because it was built by my Philadelphia lawyers, and it's gonna lock you down and lock you up. It's the same one that On Deck uses. It's the same one that Capitus uses and the rest of the industry. So if you want one, order it up. I never ever say that. Vadim can attest to that. So can Thea, because no one ever brings it up. But the pay structure agreement, you're welcome to sign it, but none of you will. I'll get it back from one or two of you. I don't know why. I'd sign that sucker and get it back to me in a New York minute. I'd take my Texas time doing it. But nobody signs it. So we pay you anyway. Simple as that. We pay you anyway. It doesn't matter to us whether you signed it or not. We pay you anyway. We want you to get your money. We can't wait for you to get your money. I mean, Vadim, did you sign one of those ever? I never asked you that before.
I actually signed, but not from...
You did?
Yep.
Gotcha. Well, one thing's for certain, you never had any problem getting your payroll, right?
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's irrelevant to us. We don't look around and see if Vadim had signed one or any of the rest of you had signed one. You know, we pay you. We love to pay you. So, yeah, if you want to hand that in, you're very welcome to, but you don't have to. And you can just sign it online, whether you use Adobe or some sort of signing mechanism. It doesn't have to be a wet signature. Don't make it complicated. But great question. Thank you very much.
If we were to sign it, where would we send it?
You can send it to Bret at mppfunding.com.
Excellent.
All businesses must be U.S. businesses?
Can you say it again? You broke up at the U.S. Say it again.
All businesses must be U.S. businesses?
Yeah, so we're in Japan. We're in Australia full-time now. We're in Canada. We're in northern Mexico. We're in Puerto Rico. You're welcome to be in all 50 states and Puerto Rico. Those are U.S. businesses to us. So you have to live in the country in order to work in that country. So if you're in Canada and you live in Canada, then you're going to have to market in Canada. Okay? If you live in the United States, you're going to market in the United States. And you have to have a bank. You have to have a bank in that state. Great question. All right. Anyone else before we get the heck out of here?
Yeah, I actually have another question. So some of us aren't used to making this level of income. Do you have any resources?
Nobody is.
You
wouldn't be on this call, right?
right. So do you have any resources to help, like, save with taxes?
Well, I don't get involved. I don't get this question, but just maybe once every 6 months. I don't get involved in the tax side of this. You can start to work with your CPA or work with a tax advisor in your local area. Each state differs, and I just stay out of that. But I get very involved in helping you save money. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people call me or email me after their third, fourth, fifth commission, and they're like, hey, I've made 71 grand, and that's more than I, gross total, or 119 grand, and that's more than I made the last 3 or 4 years, or the last 2 years, or the last year. What would you advise? And I'm always, for free, I'm always talking about how to save money. I'm always working with people about that. So, but not taxes. I stay out of that. I apologize.
Okay. So when you say on how to save money, you're saying in other ways besides taxes. Because like I'm thinking like, how can I get them to take the least amount of taxes out of the commission? That's what I'm thinking.
I know how to do that, but I'm gonna leave that up to your advisor. You could actually type that into Google, and trust me, if you typed into Google, how can I get the less taxes taken out of my payroll or my 1099 check in Colorado, if you live in Colorado? Believe me, you've got all sorts of suggestions on there that can help you with that. Absolutely. Hey, shame on you, by the way.
For what?
You should not. You've got to pay your taxes.
Oh.
What are you telling? Are you telling us that you don't want to pay taxes? I mean, come on, Elon Musk doesn't pay taxes. Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes. All you got to do is turn on CNN, right, and MSNBC and The View. I mean, I had to laugh last night. There's this national gentleman on worldwide TV, Elon Musk, giving up his time for free to go in and cut the waste so we can get rid of our deficit in this country. And I'm hearing all these comments this morning on Meta and everything else about how, oh no, what he's doing is he's ripping us off and this and that. And the number one thing I saw was, well, he doesn't pay taxes. Hey, folks, stop a minute. Stop the Kool-Aid for a moment and understand. He paid more taxes last year than any human being has ever paid in the history of mankind. You're not listening to the right channel. So here's what I did, just to let each of you know. I'm not a CNN fan. I'm not a Fox News fan. I'm not a View fan. I'm not a fan of Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow or Chris Cuomo. 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. Hell, I didn't even care about politics. I was working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as a business person. But one day I woke up, and this guy became president who I did not like, named Donald Trump. But I can tell you right now, he was damn good for my business. And then all of a sudden, this guy got in there named Joe Biden, and my business, along with other businesses and the people in my businesses, suffered. In fact, I can tell you right now, we had more suicides, pro rata share, during the last 4 years than we've had since I got in the industry in 2007. We have more homeless people on our platform right now than we've ever had. In fact, I can just go back 5 years ago and tell each of you, no one ever told me they were homeless one time ever. We have 11 of you in this class right now that have admitted you're homeless. That's because the price of eggs, the price of chicken, the price of housing, the price of gas, the price of diesel, the price of heat, the price of electricity, the price of homes,
what Biden did
interest rates. Everything has gone up. Had they stayed in business, I am convinced that we would not have a country 4 years from now. This country would be gone. Now, that's okay with some of you. That's not okay with me. I like it here. I want to live here. And so what I'm trying to do more than anything by having this conversation with you right now is this. You need to understand. Had you been on our platform the last 4 years, every business owner was taking these loans because they were in trouble. Now we're starting to hear a whole different mindset, and now people are entrepreneurial again and excited, not depressed, whacked down on anxiety medicine, and just shy of using a razor blade or a gun to kill themselves. I'm telling you right now, our funding calls are a blast right now. Our funding calls just 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago, I mean, we would actually give the advice seek professional help. I had my funders on the calls telling these men and women, he, she, they, because there was a lot of he, she, they, please seek professional help. And we would pull the loan back and not lend them the money because we were afraid they were going to commit suicide. We had never had a suicide ever until this administration got in there right after COVID, because COVID had a lot to do with it. I'm not going to argue that. And then we started to have suicide after suicide after suicide after suicide. And if they kill themselves when they have one of these loans, then the loan is forgiven, because we have a life insurance benefit attached to the loan on our end that we paid for. So the loan is forgiven. And we'd never had a suicide. But all of a sudden we just had a plethora of suicides, and all it did was get larger and larger. Homelessness got larger and larger and larger. More and more people reaching out to me, begging me to loan them $500, $300, $50 for gas, $500 for groceries. Can you help me? My child's in trouble. And it was just unbelievable what went on. And right now, what we're hearing out of our business owners, your business owners, when we're funding them, that they're high-spirited, excited, and they're entrepreneurial again, and they're ready to go. They're ready to grow. So you've come on this platform at an amazing time, because just to let you know, banks are scared to death to loan to industries, to loan to businesses when the economy sucks. Don't ever forget I said that. They get very scared and they pull back. But when the economy starts to scream and do well, banks pull back also. So it's going to be a while before the banks make their adjustment to this. Keep in mind, Chase, U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, behind the scenes, have been laying people off for a long time now, 3-4 years. And now it's going to be hard for them to get these people back. Because what you got to understand is, more than ever in America, people want to work remote. They want that freedom. Like as an example, I'm leaving. I'm going to have a surgery here this next month in March. That's going to be my final surgery connected to my cancer. And then I'm finally free after 3 years. And I'm going to get my Pre-Boss bus and I'm coming your way. I will be on the road full time. And if everything goes right with my voice, I'll be able to do telemarketing. I'm starting to lose it now as we speak. But I'm going to get a shot this afternoon, and it's starting to come back. But anyway, long story short, I'm going to be free. I'm going to start going out on the road again. And, you know, I really anticipate being in an environment where it's going to be a lot less people, you know, tearing down statues, burning up buildings, cussing at each other, being mean to one another. And maybe we'll see some civility come back and a little bit of sanity. That's my prayer. I may be living in a dream world, but, you know, one thing you'll learn about me over time is I'm an eternal optimist, but I got to tell each of you something. This was starting to get to me. This negative environment was starting to get to me. It was taking its toll on me. In fact, I actually bought property between Chile and Argentina, and I was going to go. I can tell you all right now, I don't make threats. You'll never see me make a threat. I'm not like a lot of these people that said, well, you know, if so-and-so becomes president, I'm leaving the country. I can tell you right now, had this administration got into this presidency again, I'd be having this call with you this morning, and I'd be in the Chile-Argentina area, and that's where I'd be living. So we are coming into some really interesting times. It's going to be very exciting. I can tell you right now, I've been at this now since 2007, and there's only been 2 periods where the business owners been able to be entrepreneurial and use this money for expansion purposes. And this is a great time. So we'll see you all on this other side tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I know I lost a couple of you during my speech just now regarding the economy. and this current administration, I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you this right now. I don't see the buildings being torn down. I don't see the statues being torn down. I don't see the looting going on with people stealing stuff out of, listen, folks, in my hometown where I grew up in Portland, Oregon, my governor and our mayor allowed Walgreens to pull out. They allowed Home Depot to pull out. These major corporations, Nike removed their corporate stores downtown. Apple removed their corporate stores. Nordstrom's, Macy's, REI, 100-year-old companies removed themselves from Portland quietly, and now you go there, and it looks like something out of a Denzel Washington movie, or a Mad Max movie. All the windows are boarded up in the first layer of all the buildings on the first floor, and oftentimes the second floor. And these businesses are open like Subway. And they can't have signage. You just have to know where Subway restaurant is because they break the signage. And it's like, yeah, that's a world that I don't like living in. I don't like living in it. And if you like living in it, there's something wrong with you. I mean, can someone give me an amen? Someone give me an amen.
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 Just one amen.
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 I don't want to live in this world. Let me tell you something about this world that I can tell you right now. If you're black and I go into your home, you will welcome me. They're lying to you. If you're Chinese, Japanese, if you're Jewish, if you're Protestant, if you're Buddhist, I'm in your homes. I've been in your home since 2007. You never cut me with a knife. You never kicked me out of your home. You fed me your food. I was part of your culture, part of your little society oftentimes, and I was accepted with open arms and love and kindness. And the funny part about it is, what we were told is that we can't get along if we're white and black or Jewish and Protestants. Like, oh, bullshit.
Amen.
You know what that is? That's propaganda. And folks, I'm going to show you something right now. Bear with me because some of you don't realize this is something that I do a lot of. I want you to look at the screen right now and understand you need to know what the word propaganda means. I know you can use it in a sentence, but let's look at it right here. Information, especially of a bias or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or viewpoint. But let's go a step further and let's look down here. Number 2, a committee of cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church responsible for foreign missions, founded in 1622 by Pope Gregory. And you take a look at it and you say to yourself, well, you got to be kidding me. Start looking at the origin of these words. I'll never forget that movie. Anyone remember that movie with Sean Penn and Mel Gibson about the origin of words? Anyone? Remember, Sean Penn was a madman. And Mel Gibson was hired, his character, 400 years ago, to look at the origins of every word. And the origins of these words came in from all over the world. People wrote in on a little 5x7 card. Anyone ever seen that movie? Anyone?
What movie is it?
Well, go out and look it up. Mel Gibson, Sean Penn, The Origin of Words. And understand, every day I pick a word, and I look at that word, and I become engulfed in that word. I've been doing it for a little over 35 years, and when I came across propaganda, I was like, whoa. The Roman Catholic Church invented this word for foreign missions because they wanted to spread a message. No different than my Lutheran faith wants to send a message. No different than Catholic faith wants to send a message, or Protestant, or Episcopalian, or Mormons going door to door. We all want to spread a message. And my message more than anything for you, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to help you help them. If I can get you to help them, the business owner, it helps you and it helps me. And I'm all about love and kindness. I mean, I wish we could all sing a little Michael Row Your Boat Ashore or Kumbaya together. This, like John Bradshaw says, who recently died, and if you don't know who John Bradshaw is, a Nobel Prize winner with his techniques and his writings, you've got to look up John Bradshaw. But what he said is, hey, we're sailing through space at 150,000, 160,000 miles an hour, and ain't none of us getting out of here alive. Maybe we should all stop for a moment and give each other a hug, because this doesn't end well for you. This does not end well for me. I don't know what to tell you, but nobody has been able to live through this. We're all going to die. So between now and then, what I'm trying to do is everything I can to make sense of the world, just like you. And when I wake up in the morning and I can't make sense of the world, I can't make sense of the systems because mankind has bastardized them, I look at it and go, I don't want to be part of that world anymore. And that's why I was going to say, I'm out of here. Now, I know there's some of you that look at this and say, I'm out of here. I don't want Elon Musk in there cutting and looking at these budgets and saying, I got to get rid of this, and this. Well, wouldn't you do that in your own budget? I mean, we all do that in our own budget, right? I mean, if you could find an extra $1,000 in your home budget, my God, you would get rid of it in a New York minute. And you take your Texas time doing it. So why are we complaining? Well, it's just hatred. I mean, look at my website right here, folks, and understand this. Just look at this for a moment. You've never seen this before in your life, not one of you. Other than if you've been on my call, but understand, every one of you have a home row emotion. And understand, it's not mental illness, it's actually an emotion. So as we scroll down here, look at this for a moment. You have 6 choices. You're grounded. You have a foundation, like a concrete foundation for a home or a building. You're rooted in fear or anger or sadness or disgust or surprise and rarely happiness. In fact, as I scroll down, what I'll tell you is that we, right here in green, are happiness-seeking beings. And trillions of dollars are being spent annually on people seeking the emotion happiness. You may be on this platform because you're seeking happiness. What do we do to become happy? We gamble, we use porn, we overeat, we use antidepressants, we shop, we use drugs, we use alcohol. You get my point. We are happiness-seeking beings. Very few of us are genuinely happy. Your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your friends, your family member are rooted in fear. They're rooted in anger. They're rooted in sadness. You only have 6 choices, just 6. And if you wake up tomorrow with the same mindset today from an emotion standpoint, and you clad yourself in anger like Whoopi Goldberg every single solitary day, anger. Rachel Maddow, every single solitary day, anger. Sean Hannity, every single solitary day, anger. I don't know how they do it. Chris Como, every single solitary day, anger. Hey, folks, you can only do this for so long before you're the byproduct of it. And I don't want to be the byproduct of anger or sadness or disgust or surprise. I want to be the byproduct of happiness. And so that's what I've been seeking for years, is happiness. So I got into self-help books and closing in on my 900th biography because I wanted to see how I could become happy in a world where so often I was scared. The emotion of fear drove me. It drove me. And then what happened to me was one day, take a look at this website that I've got that you've never seen before, unless you've taken my class before. Take a look at 7 Keys to Success, and we click on it. And here's my 7keystosuccess.com. And you scroll down, and you look at it, and you go, okay, well, yeah, each one of you already know you need to set a goal. Well, hold on a minute. You set a goal to be on this call. Sure. So you won so far. Key number 2. You made a plan on how to reach your goal of being on this call. Huh. I'll be go to hell. This shit worked, excuse my language. Key number 3, you asked yourself a question. Do you believe in the plan of getting on this call? You're damn right you did, and you did. I'm proud of you. Bear with me, because we're going to celebrate in a minute. Look at key number 4. What did you do? 7 Keys to Success. You put the plan in action, and you made it on the call. You cannot be successful making a bowl of cereal without A, setting a goal. Key number 2, making a plan on how to reach the goal of making that bowl of cereal. Key number 3, asking yourself a question. Do you believe in the plan of making this bowl of cereal? Uh-huh. Key number 4, you put the plan in action. Key number 5, do not deviate from the plan. You didn't. You ate your breakfast this morning. You got in this call this morning. Key number 6, if you deviated, which we do every day from our plan, just put the plan back in action. Don't be mean to yourself. Don't say to yourself, oh, shoot, or oh, shit. It's February 19th. I've already stopped my New Year's resolution. Doggone it. Don't wait till next year. Just go to key number 6 and put the plan back in action. Start today. Fight the fight. Because what's waiting for you is key number 7, and that is the money key. Look at the screen. And let me tell you about the money key. Take the time to relish in and enjoy accomplishing your goal, to feel a sense of fulfillment. And then I wrote in parentheses in black letters, when you watch a tribe after having a successful day of hunting, they always have a ritualistic dance around the fire as a sign of enjoyment for having accomplished their goals. You need to have your dance and get your flesh used to the feeling of accomplishing and enjoying your goals. But let me tell you something about you, ladies and gentlemen. Just like me. We are so caught up in thinking about our long-term goals that we don't celebrate our day-to-day accomplishments, which are the short-term goals and our medium-term goals. Because understand, it may take you 35 years, 40 years before you reach your long-term goal of owning a home or retirement or whatever. So along the way, like they say, it's not the journey, it's the destination. So you've got to get good at saying to yourself, you know what, Maurice, Sylvester, Valerie, you know what, Leonard, you know what, Jeffrey and Carolyn and April and Adam, if not you, Carolyn, if not you, Patrick, then how about me say to you as a coach, I'm proud of you. You made it through this call. I'm proud of you. You made it through Wednesday's training, Tuesday's training, Monday's training. You'll graduate tomorrow. I'm proud of you. Because what you got to do, this is what I taught myself, baby steps, because I felt so bad. I was rooted in fear. I was rooted in anger. I was rooted in sadness. That's how our family grew up. And I fought those feelings every day to find happiness, seek happiness. And I did it like everybody else, whether it involved masturbation or shopping or drinking or exercising or yoga. I was seeking happiness, trying to find something that made me feel good, something that made me feel great, something that made me feel grateful, gratitude. Because gratitude is an attitude at the end of the day that, make no mistake about it, can come from the heart chakra, and you can flow with that energy. And if you can take that into day 2, I mean, there was a time, folks, when what I prayed on my knees for from God was, or the universe was, just a smile that day. Because what you don't know about my personal story is I became agoraphobic and I couldn't leave the home. I was molested growing up in the 4th and 5th grade. I suffered from anxiety attacks of epic proportion by the time I was 17 and a half years old. And it didn't go away anytime soon. Because you got to know, in 1980, they didn't have a lot of information out there in self-help books and regarding anxiety attacks. And certainly doctors weren't just saying to you, hey, by the way, this is what's wrong with you. In fact, I thought I was going to have a lobotomy or electronic shock, this type of thing. I thought I was going to have to be institutionalized. And what I did was I sought the help of a psychiatrist and a pastor, and I started working on myself. And what I found was, take a look at my hand right now. Everyone see it on the screen? Everyone see it on the screen?
Yes.
Yep.
What I found was I was pointing my finger at my family. I was pointing my finger at others, like a lot of Democrats and Republicans do. They point fingers at each other. And what I found was, folded inside neatly here, look at my hand, was 3 fingers pointed back at myself. And every time I would point at others, my pastor would remind me, you got 3 fingers pointed back at yourself. It starts with personal development, Bret. That will have a butterfly effect on you and others surrounding in your life. And the world would be a better place for it if you can make changes with yourself. So I did. I had faith that it could happen. It would happen. Never in my wild. In fact, I'll tell you all something right now. If I would have known that I was going to work on this as hard as I did and as long as I did, I would have took a 9mm and I would have shot myself in the head, quite frankly. That's how much work I've done, and that's how much work that's how much I've been through. But I can tell you right now, I'm no different than you. Most of you, if not all of you, could tell the exact same personal story, maybe with different circumstances and situations. You know, it's not easy navigating the human experience sometimes. And for some of us, that can transpire for a year or two or a 10-year period. And after a while, pretty soon, you know, they talk about you becoming chemically imbalanced. I do not believe in that, by the way, at all. Because you can fall in love in a New York minute, all of a sudden, you can't sleep anymore. And you can't sleep not because you have insomnia, but because you're in love. Or you can be in love with a new car. You can be in love with a new house. You can be in love with a new partner, a new wife, a new husband, a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend. You can be in love with a new baby. You're going to be in love with a new mindset and make immediate changes. That's why you hear these people say, you know, my life changed on this day when I found Jesus Christ. I was born again. Everything changed, you know, and we do go through these metamorphoses. Doesn't have to be Jesus Christ, for God's sakes. It could be any of the above. And that's what happened to me. Over and over and over again, I saw little teeny glimpses. So I started to develop this based off of Carnegie, based off Rockefeller, based off this people outside. I started to realize they were using The Secret. You've seen the book, The Secret. You've seen the movie, The Secret. You've listened to Jack Caulfield talk about chicken soup for the soul. And you know that setting goal is important. You know that making a plan on how to reach your goal is important. You do it every day, but you just haven't written it down. You don't have this formula. Well, here it is for you. 7keystosuccess.com. Set a goal. Number 1. Number 2, make a plan on how to reach that goal. You did. That's how you got on this phone. You wouldn't have got on this phone call otherwise. And then you asked the question, do you believe in the plan? Sure you did. So you got on the call. And then step 4, key 4, you put the plan in action. Key 5, you did not deviate. Key 6, if you did deviate, you're like, oh, God, I really don't want to do this today. It's too early. Or, you know, this guy pontificates too much, fornicates too much in his speaking. I don't like his style, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you put the plan back in action. You got on the call. Now, key number 7, I want you to do this. Listen to me. Go to a mirror as fast as you can. Get to a mirror, Valerie. Get the mirror out of your purse if you've got one. Sylvester, grab your car mirror. Leonard, grab your car mirror. Go to your car. Go to your house, Carolyn. Go to whatever mirror you've got and thank yourself for enduring. And understand you can never get to where you want to get without enduring first. And then guess what shows up? Endurance. Now endurance is a wonderful thing. Now you've worked at running that marathon. You've worked at running that marathon. And now you have the endurance to be able to run that marathon because you endured the pain. You endured the time it took to get that education. You're no longer ignorant. You now know how to run a marathon, and now you go out with that level of endurance, and you run the marathon. You live your life. And folks, when you look at the word endure, I can tell you right now, when you look at the word endure, and you look at the synonyms associated with the word endure, I can tell you right now, every one of you have endured. Look at this. You've undergo. You've gone through. You've lived through. You've experienced. You meet. You coped with. You dealt with. You faced up to. You handled. You suffered. You tolerated. So no doubt you know how to endure. But here's the thing. Me having been someone who's traumatized, I could talk to the rest of you if you've been traumatized by this life in some way, shape, or form, or someone within this lifetime, and that is there's times where what happens to us is we seem to think that we have to continue to hold on. Well, look how our outside body gets a cut, according to Carolyn Mace, and then a week later, it's fine. Why can't our inside body repair itself like our outside body? Well, it's our personal choice. We love to run around and talk about our trauma. I can remember when I first started to realize about my trauma, I didn't want to talk about my trauma. And then when I started to share about my trauma, I started to realize a lot of people don't want to hear about your trauma. So I had to go to meetings like Cocaine Anonymous or Alcohol Anonymous or CODA, Codependent Anonymous. And pretty soon I could be in there with other people that had their violin and they're playing their soft, slow music about woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. And I said to myself, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want a 20-year chip for Alcoholic Anonymous. That's not what I'm after. I want a 20-year chip for I busted my ass, became a better person, got rid of the crap that was binding me, and now I can live in the world not in fear, not in anger, not in disgust, not sad anymore, but genuinely happy. And I can tell you all something right now. Money did not do that. Money will not make you happy. You mark my words. Money is going to make you more of who you already are. I'm going to say it again. Money makes you more of what you already are. So if you're out there and you've got a dark side and you're gambling right now, or you're using porn right now, and you start coming into money, you're going to do it more. You're not going to stop. That's why Jeffrey Epstein bought an island. That's why Jeffrey Epstein had to plane the Lolita Express. That's why Bernie Madoff ended up in jail. They can't control themselves. When they started getting money, they became more of who they were. And for me, if you said to me, hey, Bret, what happened to you when you started getting money? I became a nicer man. In a world, by the way, where it's not vogue or in vogue to become nice or be nice anymore. In fact, if I'm nice, you look at me and you're like, well, what's your motive? What's your ulterior motive? There must be something up. And it's like, no, you know what? I started to realize that niceness is actually still something that works to your advantage. And being mean is like the bumper sticker, mean people suck. And that's to your disadvantage. So I started to realize I wanted to be the protagonist in your story, not the antagonist. So you could walk away saying to yourself, you know what? I feel a sense of nutrition. I don't feel malnourished anymore. I actually feel nourished. In a world where before I met you, I was malnourished. And I'm not talking about food here. Because I can tell you right now, you could be malnourished spiritually, emotionally, and it's not a fun place to be. But, there are very few people that will really explain this to you and I, and that's because very few of us take the time to come out of our level of ignorance. Instead, what we do is we sit out there with our opinions on these platforms, these social media platforms, saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, and you got what? One piece of information you could provide? I'll never forget it. I saw it. I remember it like it was yesterday. One of the things that really got me involved in the media and politics was all of a sudden out of the blue, something happened. I was like, what the hell's going on? Every time I look at Facebook today, which I was really in Facebook like a lot of you, because it was COVID-19 time, we didn't have anything else to do during our off time. So Instagram, Twitter, I was looking at these platforms, and there it was, all of a sudden, out of the blue, everybody was touting the fact Donald Trump's a liar. He lied 22,172 times. I'm thinking to myself, well, where did they get this number? And then just a little bit of reverse engineering, I started to realize CNN has now decided that this is their new sales feature for the day, for the week, for the month, like the flavor of the month. Rachel Maddow was talking about it. The View was talking about it. Sean Hannity was going up against it with his group. So was other people on Fox News. And I'm thinking to myself, well, did he actually lie 22,000 times? Do they actually have all the lies? Is there a fact checker? Sure. Come on, folks. We had so many fact checkers in this country that we even became fact checkers ourselves. In fact, we became the judge and jury, and if we would have had a piece of rope and we had our way, we would have probably hung 90% of the people around us. We were just completely out of control. And we were out of control only for one reason, and that is because we were being controlled. The only reason you're ever out of control is because you've been controlled. The reason I was out of control in my teens, early to mid 20s and late 20s was because my older brother controlled me. That's why I was out of control. He controlled me growing up for 2.5-year period, molesting me. And that's very often the common the case. And so when I work one-on-one with people that have been molested or couples that are going through marital problems, the first thing I do is I go at this trauma or the drama that's associated with the trauma. And then we start to get down to the core. Because if you're not brave enough to go in and look at the core, and do we cry? Do we weep? Do we feel uncomfortable? Sure. Hey, listen to me. There's not a snake and there's not a lizard in the world that sheds their skin by just unzipping it from their chin to their genitals and hopping out of the skin. Watch a time-lapsed photography of a snake shedding its skin or a lizard shedding its skin, and it is a very uncomfortable environment. Watch the metamorphosis of a cocoon with a, caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And I can tell you all, it's a very uncomfortable situation. And that's why most of us are not brave enough to go through that metamorphosis and become who we want to be. That's one of the greatest fears we have. I mean, the saying about the greatest fears we have with inadequacies, the greatest fear we have, that speech, is the fact that we may rise up and find out that we are as powerful as we think we are. I mean, there's a speech about this. You can look it up. What is our greatest fear? And I can tell you all right now that for me, the promised land started to show up in my mid-30s. It started to happen. And I became more aggressive, more assertive with my reading and my writing and listening to others like yourselves and people around me and plugging into more and more seminars that could feed me positive energy. The moment it got toxic for me, whether it was you or an agency or a company on TV or on the radio or in person, I removed myself from it. The only reason I ever go back to look at it is from an educational standpoint, to shake my head and say, God, they're still there. They're still there. I mean, folks, my family's still there, the ones that are alive. And, you know, they're the byproduct of a really uncomfortable life. And they've had a terrible life, in and out of jail, in and out of drugs and alcohol. I got married in 88. And in 1991, 3 years later, we'd lost over 20 of our family members to drugs and alcohol. Very few families I've ever met were controlled by drugs and alcohol like our family. Where did it come from? It came from the fact where you go back to the sins of the father, and for 4 to 6 generations, what had been passed down to us was beatings, hitting, yelling at one another, shaming each other. You can't shame a child for very long. I mean, like John Bradshaw says, you can show me no materials at all that say there's a benefit to beating a child, to yelling at a child. I mean, all they do is become cower. They cower, not cowards, but they cower. And then the next thing you know, they're fundamentally getting ready for the next beating. So then when they finally do get with an authoritative figure in their life in the world of work, a guy like me can't even go to work because I'm ready to kill my boss. Because every time I look at my boss, this authoritative figure, I put my dad in there. I put my mom in there. I put my brother in there. These people that controlled me. So I want to welcome you to my platform. I want to let you know I'm not normal. And I don't want to be normal. I live in a world of normal. I'm surrounded by people who are hanging on by a thread. I'm surrounded by people who hate Democrats, hate Republicans, hate each other. And I'm not that guy. I'm surrounded by people that hate black people. I'm surrounded by people that hate white people. I'm surrounded by people that hate Jews and Chinese and Protestants and Episcopalians and Mormons. And I'm just not that guy. I'm not. I can't wait to share in your culture. I can't wait to eat your food, whether it's spicy or bland. I can't wait to hear your music choices. And I can't wait to get a hug after it's all over and have you look me in the eye and say, you know what? Thank you for coming by. It's like, thank you? Are you kidding me? Thank you. Because every time that I come into your home, no one will let me stay in a hotel ever when I get in your area. I am open. I'm welcomed with open arms. And, you know, oftentimes people apologize for the mess in their home, but I always look at it and say to myself, it's the patina. It's like patina. And there's nothing like patina. Patina means everything. You know, this film on the surface of bronze or metals like oxidation, like copper. And I believe that we have patina in our homes. You know, maybe the paint is rubbed off a little bit, and we've got a chart where the children have their heights from the day they were born, and we've measured them. And I get to see your patina, and I love your patina. Can't wait to hear you yell at each other and how you go through the resolving your conflicts and, you know, your political views and the variety. That's what I love about life, is the variety. And variety for me is the spice of life. So I want to wish you nothing but the best of luck today. And I want to tell you each right now that if for some reason you're hanging down on by a thread and you haven't gotten on your knees lately, like Denzel Washington says, stick your slippers underneath the bed far enough that you've got to get on your knees to get them. That should be the first position you take when you wake up in the morning. Get on your knees. I'm not talking about praying here, but I'm talking about seeing life from a different angle. Just stop, get on your knees, take in that energy, feel the earth grounding you, and just stop for a moment and understand that you don't have to continue at that pace. Breathe. This is exercise that saved my life. And then I got into yoga about 35, 40 years ago. I eventually became a yoga instructor. I now can meditate. I could be with you anywhere in the world. I could arrive at your place, Vadim, in the middle of the war in Ukraine, and I could lay down on a kitchen table in your front room, in your kitchen, and I could fall asleep in 15 seconds, and you'd be like, what in the hell is going on? This guy must be tired in hell. No, I'm calm as hell. I may not sound like I'm calm, but a calm came over me when I started to become less ignorant, and I started to have this education, and I had this data, and I started to realize that they don't want you and I to succeed. And who are they? Hold on a minute. It's not the Democrats. It's not the Republicans. It's the monarchs. Let's go back 1,000 years. Let's go back 2,000 years. Let's go back 3,000 years. They want you and I to be a peasant. They want you and I to be a peasant. They do not want you and I to sit at the table with them. They want you to be a poor farmer of low social status who rents a small piece of land from the king. And what you do is you go up to the king's castle with your hat in hand and you ask for seed, or you ask for cattle, or you ask for whatever it is. And then what do? They come over and they impregnate your firstborn. They impregnate your wife. And they spread their genes everywhere. I mean, you could go back and look in time and see what these monarchs did. Because they want to keep you down. They want to hold you down. You're part of a monarchical system. And the monarchs are being exposed for the first time in thousands of years, right before our very eyes right now. And if everything goes right, because I'm an optimist, we're going to disengage from these people that wanted you and I to be controlled. I don't want you to be controlled. I want you to flourish. I want you to be like a flower involved in photosynthesis where the light causes you to open up. That's what you want for your children. That's what you want for your babies. Every day I talk about this with my oldest son. We have a call every day. He has a new baby. She's a little over a year old, Maxine. She's walking. She's trying to say words now. She's smiling from ear to ear, and I keep telling him, like, get in her ear and talk about love like Dad did with you. He's like, man, and there's times where him and I start crying. He's like, Dad, thank you so much for being brave enough not to pass on what was passed on to you. And I guarantee you I will not pass it on to my daughter and on to my future children. And folks, that's the thing about the sins of the father, is we just accept the fact that this is what I do. What do you mean this is what you do? How dare you not take a sword and a shield and fight those things that bother you about the way you were brought up? Because it's that discomfort that is causing you not to be where you want to be. I'll guarantee it. And I can tell you right now, whether it's acupressure or whether it's, endorphins being released through exercise, or dopamine being released through exercise, or drugs, or reading, or therapy, I don't care what it takes. Smoke them if you got them, if you need them. And quit paying attention to the people that judge you. Because make no mistake about it, what matters at the end of the day is the fact that you're not hurting anyone. Stop hurting yourself and start loving yourself. I'm not asking you to be narcissistic and be in love with yourself like the story of Narcissist. But what I am asking you to do is forgive yourself. Be kind to yourself. You don't have to forgive others. Start with yourself. And understand at the end of the day that there's a reason why you're here. And it's bigger than just, hey, I need change. There is no such thing as a coincidence. I'm a good, sound leader. among a bunch of people out there that claim to be good, sound leaders, but what they really want out of you is they want your money. And they're going to figure out how to bill you. I don't want your money. I don't need your money. Keep your money. Everything I've talked about this week thus far within reason is pretty much free. Doesn't cost much. From here on out, it'll be totally free. And I want you to be in a situation where you look back on this and say to yourself, damn it, I got more out of this than I bargained for. Well, that's the way it should be. To be honest with each of you, that's what's happened in my life. Every time I set a goal, every time I put my plan in action, every time I don't deviate from the plan, what ends up happening is I end up getting something better than the goal I intended to get initially. It's always better. It's a miracle. It's got to be something that's cosmic. It's got to be the universe. It's got to be the divine. What else could it be? What else could it be other than, God at work or the universe at work, where you actually can be in a situation where you can be at your lowest. And then the next thing you know, you're like, holy cow. Well, folks, I tell you something. That's what happens in this next week, 2 weeks, month. I start to get to really know you, and we get to work in one-on-one with one another, and you're like, I'm actually scared. I'm like, I know. I've been there. And what you're really scared of is that this may come back. Well, understand, folks, that the way it works is this. Your outside body keeps growing. Even your ears keep growing to the day you die. So you're always going to be taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Don't pay attention to the 1 step back. Pay attention to the 2 steps forward. You made a massive move. You came on my platform. There's thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of platforms that you've been approached by and seen out there. And you chose this one. And I can tell you right now, I am not here to fill you full of crap. I'm not here to share porn with you. I'm not here to come on to you ladies or you men if I were gay. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to be angry at you if you're black, because I can tell you right now, I was born into a family that was anti-black, anti-Japanese, anti-Chinese, anti-anything other than Ukraine and Norwegian. My dad was Norwegian and my mom was Ukrainian, and other than that, the world didn't exist. Everyone else was someone that was our competition. And so what they did was they pit me against them over and over and over again, just like Weaver, just like Baranaga, just like Noble. And then in comes a family, the Don Toller family, into our neighborhood, Milwaukee, Oregon, and they're black, and they're on my paper route. And I know I can make $2.20 if I can get their subscription. I go up to the door. Next thing I'm doing, I'm talking to Don Toller's dad, to Stan, and he's a realtor. Made a ton of money back east, decided to move out here, couldn't take the hustle and bustle in New York City, moved out to Portland, Milwaukee metropolitan area. By God, he brought me his front room. I got to share a donut with him and his wife, homemade donut. They live just like you and I. They had a home. They got blood in their veins. Their money's green. And he took the full $3.75 subscription. Got home, and I got a beating. I got the crap beat out of me when I told my dad that I got Don Toller and Stan Toller's account. But you know what I did? My dad didn't keep track of me when I was on my paper route, because by then he was drinking already. So I got to be on my own. And I delivered that paper every day, and I got to know Don, and I got to know his sister. And what a wonderful family. Then I got to know Thomas Chiefchild, an Indian family that moved into our area. Pretty soon it started to expand, and it became more black people and more Chinese people. And then Tyrone Miller moved in, who was Asian. The next thing you know, I started to have Asian food and deliver the paper to them. They were part of my life. And I got to meet their dog. There was nothing wrong with their dog. There was nothing wrong with their car. Completely unlike what my dad and mom taught me. In fact, if none of you have ever seen this movie, you need to see this movie right now as fast as you can. Look up the movie M. Night, N-I-G-H-T, Shyamalan, and the name of the movie is called The Village. And I lived in the village. Has anyone ever seen the movie called The Village? Someone say yes if they've seen the movie called The Village.
Yes, I have.
There's no movie like this on the face of the planet, is there, that describes what I'm talking about? What these parents did was they scared the crap out of their kids because they didn't want these kids to go outside of this little society that they've created for themselves. But then one day, guess what? They needed medicine. And so they showed these kids, like Joaquin Phoenix, that the boogeyman was actually a suit that they would put on with claws and fangs, and they would scare the crap out of the children with this as adults. Imagine being a child in your teenage years and you see your parents for the first time for who they actually are, or your government, a Democrat or a Republican, for who they actually are, or your teachers for who they actually are, and you're like, whoa. I mean, psychologically, they were so warped, weren't they, that they could hardly get out of the little village they were in, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, right.
And it was psychological warfare, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they got over the fence, and what was there? Burger King, Nordstrom's. It's like, what the hell is this? They'd never seen it before in their lives. And that's what happened to me. Was all of a sudden one day I got out of my village. Well, let me tell you about my mom. Let me tell you about my dad, my aunt, my uncle, my grandmother, my grandfather, my brother, my older brother, my little brother, and the people around us. What they did was they threw rocks at me. They threw innuendos at me. They called me names. You're a pussy. How dare you leave the family? You're a wimp. You're a traitor. This is the word after word after word after word. They flogged me. They yelled me. They hit me when they could hit me. They threw things when they could throw things at me. And I moved further and further away. But what was funny about it was I was drawn back to them. And I would go work with my pastor. I'd work with my psychiatrist, and I'd be like, something's wrong. Because I want to get away from them. And every time I get further away from them, I feel like I'm being pulled back. And that's what they went through in that movie called The Village. M. Night Shyamalan got it perfectly. Every time those kids got further and further away from their own little society that their family had built for them and their grandparents had built for them, they felt bad. So what do? We return to that insanity. And we serve that insanity like it's our responsibility. Fear, anger, disgust, vitriol, toxicity, all the feelings associated with it. So I don't know where this came from this morning. I apologize to each one of you. Other than this, I could tell you something right now. I'm coming up on 3 years of being cancer-free, and I can tell you something right now. Cancer didn't control me 1 second of one day ever. It never had a chance. I mowed through it like I did COVID-19 without the vaccines, and I can tell you right now, mentally, folks, I'm not saying I'm much smarter than saying to the universe or God or a combination thereof, bring it on, baby. I'm not that narcissistic. I'm not that egotistical, because I can tell you all something right now. Don't you dare the universe to bring it on. Don't you dare God to bring it on, because I can tell you right now, they'll pour it on in a manner in which you can't possibly imagine. I've been there before. So I had to find the balance in this personal development. And the best way for me to find this balance was to be in front of an audience like you, so that I could ground myself, knowing that there's some of you right now that are hanging on every one of my words. And there's some of you that can't stand me. I know that. And there's some of you like Caleb that told me the other day, I actually had to get off the call. You made me so uncomfortable because you went into my trauma. And I went into my own trauma, and I had to get off the call. And I'm going to have to spoon feed myself your lesson because I did not bargain for this type of lesson. That's not why I came on here. I thought you were just going to teach me about, how to sell this product and what this product was, and that was that. Well, folks, I got to tell you something. These business owners are the byproduct of their own little village. And they're in their own little village like M. Nonchalant's movie. And they've been brought up in a clan just like I was. And the bottom line is, you can help them. I can help them. And maybe that will help them expand. Because one thing's for certain about these people, they've been picked on in their minds. And they're going to tell you that. They're going to tell you, F Bank of America, F Wells Fargo, F Key Bank, F U.S. Bank. And you'll hear them talk about the vitriol and the anger they have. I was in their pipeline 101 days. I was in their pipeline 93 days. I was in their pipeline 61 days. That effing bank, I'll never do business with them again. No wonder people blow these things up. No wonder people go into these places with 9mm and AR-15s and shoot people up. Think about it. I had to laugh the other day. Some guy says to me, he's like, well, eventually we'll be able to tell who's mentally ill and we'll be able to take the weapons away from them. I'm like, oh, bullshit. He's like, why do you say that? I go, dude, you've been angry before and then you've been happy an hour later, a half hour later, right? He's like, yeah. I go, that's what's going on. They're angry. Or they're sad. Or they're a combination of anger and sad and disgust. And they wallowed in it too long. Too many years, too many times, too many days, too many months, too many circumstances and situations where they wallowed in it. And maybe their folks wallowed in it. Maybe their folks were the reason why they're scared. Maybe they were beaten too much. This is not mental illness. It's not we're not all mentally ill. I can tell you right now, folks, we don't have the amount of people that we think we do in this country that are mentally ill. What we have is people that are rooted in an emotion. And they're angry. They're disgusted. They're sad. And that's not a fun place to be. Go be sad for a while. I used to do this with my children when they were little kids. I used to sit down with them from an exercise standpoint, and I'm like, show daddy anger. Now show daddy sadness. Now show daddy disgust. Now show daddy surprise. Now show daddy happiness. And I'd have them wear these emotions for a little bit. And then I would ask them, how does it feel to be like that? Geez, Dad, it's tiring. Or they'd use these key words like, it's exhausting, or it's tiring, or, it made me feel uncomfortable being angry like that. Hit Daddy. Take this baton and hit. I don't want to hit you, Daddy. Hit Daddy like you're angry. Hit Daddy like you're angry. I don't want to hit you, Daddy. We don't want to hit each other. We don't want to hurt each other. We're taught to hit each other. We're taught to hurt each other with our words, with our fists, with our legs. I mean, think about it for a moment, folks. Think about this. It was just a year ago on every major campus in America that these lemmings were camped in their tents and they were anti-Jewish people. Does anyone remember this? Anyone remember this? Anyone?
Yes.
Anyone at all? Well, I ask you, ma'am, where are they at? Where are they at now? Where are they at now? I'll tell you where they're at right now. They're not being controlled by the media with that soundbite anymore. It's a new soundbite. What is it? Dodge, 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 dodge. Anti-Trump, anti-Musk. Dodge, dodge, dodge. That's the new mantra on the campuses. Turn on the TV. It's being sold to us. It's being packaged, put in a bow with a bow, and it looks like a present. And these kids and these adults get this stuff. And then what they do is they pass it on. Why? Because they're controllable. Because they're standing there watching these idiot boxes that are spreading this propaganda and narrative, and they're involved in this, and they're the byproduct of it. And now they got to go out and they got to tell you you're wrong, and I'm wrong. So, look, real quickly, I want to let each of you know there's a culture here. There's a very interesting book, if you want to read the book, called Built to Last, 100 Visionary Companies. And we have a culture here, and the culture is this. I don't give a damn about your race. I don't give a damn about your sexual preference. I don't give a damn about your religious choices. I don't give a damn about your political choices. What I give a damn about is this. That is love and kindness and getting along with one another. That's it. That's it. So your national sales managers, it's one of the things I teach them when I teach them a short 4-day class of about 30 minutes a day for 4 days before they become a national sales manager and are anointed into the position. We talk about race, we talk about sex, we talk about religion, and that these are off limits on these calls. You want to talk about personal development? You want to talk about, happiness and this type of thing? You want to talk about, motivation and inspiration? So be it. So I want to welcome you to my team. I want to welcome you to this platform, and I want to let each of you know something right now. I can't wait to get to know all of you. I don't care about your sexual preference. I don't care about your religious choices. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care about your political affiliation. What I care about is that you're trying to help others and you're trying to help yourself in a world where so many people have copped out. So thanks for joining me today. I'm sorry for preaching. I'll see you all on the other side tomorrow for 3 methods of telemarketing. They're going to change your life. And then we'll talk about graduation also. If you can't make it, look for the recording after class is over. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye now, everyone. Go get them. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye.
April. Bye. Bye, John. Bye, Carolyn. Have a wonderful day. Bye, Warren. Have a great day. Got a couple Carolyns, by the way. Have a wonderful
That's
day,
unusual.
each of you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye now. Go get them, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us today. Have a wonderful day. Be good people. America needs more good people right now more than ever. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye now. Go get them, everyone.